Hello and welcome. We are back. We've got our science officer with us because we have formed a new group with the Starfleet International. We're with the USS Kitty Hawk. We're just trying to get all our stuff together. So we will be switching some gears, but this is still the Admiral and the Klingon show. We are talking about Strange New Worlds because that's the latest thing for Star Trek, which is, great for us as Star Trek fans. Do not confuse this with, us saying, oh my God, no, this is not one of those shows. This is not one of those shows where we're going to come here to down the episode or whatever else. We do have some critiques, but all in all, we enjoyed this series. Again, there are some points that, we kind of, but we enjoy the series overall. So let's talk about the first episode, the one where they introduce the holodeck for the first time since the animated series, because that's where the holodeck came from, the animated series. Now we're introducing this holodeck. And I love the way they did this. I have to admit, this was a nice little thing because we're going to be on long voyages, so we need this recreational thing and da. All right. They get Leon to test the holodeck. Now, this is also the show before this. When we all got together, we were all talking about the chemistry, and I was like, no, I was so wrong. You would not believe how wrong I was.
I can.
Quiet down there in the peanut gallery. Look, this is not Pike's ship, okay? You know what I'm saying? So, overall, I liked the episode. I wasn't too happy with the way they portrayed William Shatner, though. Although, I found a clip from Good Morning America where the gentleman that plays the new Captain Kirk got the blessing from William Shatner himself, and he told, in a tweet, he told him, congratulations and take care of our crew. Now, Admiral, before we get into it, there was something that you discovered through your feed. Talk about this, because this will blow your mind, Simon. Check this out.
Well, this past last week was the Star Trek convention in Vegas. And, it was a really big convention. Mark and I was there about 9-10 years ago. Just everything Star Trek, from, merchandise to small panels, the panels with the, famous stars, just big. It's at the Rio. Anyway, I was, going through Facebook the other day, and I want to say this was Saturday, Sunday, and they was talking about William Shatner. He had a panel. Usually their panels for the main stars are usually run about 45 minutes to, 55 minutes. They keep on a very tight schedule. First thing I kind of heard is that the room wasn't as full as you would think it being a panel with William Shatner. Quite a few people were saying there was a lot of empty seats, clusters of seats that were empty. People got up and left. A few of the people were saying that, hey, I've seen William Shatner like 11, 12 times, and I'd rather do this, which, my husband kind of feels the same way when it comes to William Shatner. Anyway, he was on stage, and it was about 7 to 10 minutes before the end of his panel. And people were talking, people were getting a little rude, rowdy, And he got up and left. And everybody is like, oh my goodness, this is William Shatner. He doesn't do that. You know, start from his panel, he just goes on and on and on. The lines are long. He might only answer about 4 or 5 questions, but there was some kind of disturbance in the front row where he just got up and left. And everybody's like, where did he go? I also read later on that a few people went to his table afterwards. He was quiet. They can tell that he was really frustrated and I guess upset. And it was just odd because of all the conventions I've been and he's been there, we have always seen William Shatner. Just goes on, the stories are long, but for whatever reason this time he just got up and left. And people's like, what's going on? Look like my lovely husband said, you've seen him once, you know what you're going to get. Yes, because he drags on. But, I've, always enjoyed seeing him, because at the end of the day, I think he's 92. And, he's coming to, he's been at that point for some of the Star Trek people. And, as long as he go to conventions, at least until he dies, I'll probably always want to see him. But yeah, the biggest thing from this weekend in Vegas, he just left. And, he still had 7 to 10 minutes left on his panel, just because he was just so frustrated. So I don't know if it was because of he's noticing that the crowd was, not as what it used to be, because I've been to conventions and you see him there in almost every seat. The big rooms, he's not in those little small rooms, and every seat is taken. But, the few pictures that I saw, you saw the clusters of empty seats. And, it's kind of sad. Maybe he just need to realize if he goes from state to state, when he comes here, he's in Richmond, he goes to Raleigh, people are just not willing to go and hear him talk. So I think it was kind of sad.
I've seen him only once. He signed my autobiography of James T. Kirk. I also have a Playmates, William Shatner and the Galileo. And I would love to get him to sign it, because I don't get my stuff, get it signed to flip it. I get it to hold on to it. He was one of my first, as a child, I was watching Star Trek, before Star Wars, there was Star Trek. For me, I'm that old. So, I think I want him to sign that, especially now that I'm back in Starfleet, just to have that kind of nostalgia thing for me. I do wish Mr. Shatner the best, but I can see that. I honestly can see that. I could, at 90 something years old, that Saturday Night Live thing, come on, people, get a life. I can see him, you know what I mean? But I also agree with Marky Mark. You've seen him once, you know what you're going to get when you sit down there. So, you know what I mean? And he does have a reputation of being a little bit of an ass.
Yeah.
So, but the episode, now let's get back to what we're talking about. The episode. This episode, they kind of pushed out these things. Pike was dressed up as
the director,
Gene Roddenberry.
Gene Roddenberry.
Yeah.
There's an actual picture of him in this decked out 60s, with the hair. They did the hair, the flamboyant hair, but of course that's a Pike thing too.
Yeah.
But and at first I'm like, well, who is he supposed to be? And then it dawned on me, I'm like, no. And being what I am, I went to the internet and I saw it. I was like, ooh, okay. Also, if anyone has heard about this, it's called 50 Years of Star Trek. It breaks it down into the first part, which is TOS, and then the second TOS, the Next Generation, and then the second part, of course, is Voyager. DS9 and Voyager and Enterprise, and it's the celebrities' memoirs along with the back end of it. That whole thing was messy. I don't claim to be in the now of how these things, but that you listen to that and it will change your perspective on a few people, because they actually have the actors or actresses come in and give their input on it. It may not be them voicing it, but this is from their thoughts. This Terry Farrell has some thoughts. Good listen. I'm just saying. The guy that played Chakotay has some thoughts. Jerry Ryan has some thoughts. And of course, George Takei has some thoughts. But I've always said these guys, TOS was just these three people in the Enterprise, really. Everybody else was a supporting role. You're not as a big draw. Not even Scotty is a big draw. I saw him live and he railroaded. Just talk crap about Shatner. And I was just like, I'm not really, feeling it. I'm not turning on Star Trek to see Scotty. Sorry. It's just the way it is. But to see that being kind of played out in that story setting was wild. And the guy, true or false, did he not have Shatner's thing down when he was in that role?
True.
Oh
yeah.
My God.
Some of those mannerisms, yeah, definitely. Especially when they did that light on his face. I was like, oh.
Facial expression, yeah.
Look, you mean, look, check me out. You mean that light? that little beam that's always right here.
Yes. Yeah.
But I at first I was a little upset because I thought they were making fun of William Shatner, and I didn't like that. I still don't like that. Even though I know he is who he is, Captain Kirk to me is still the Starfleet captain, if not Sisko. Those are my two go-tos. Picard will talk you to death. I'm not into talking. I need action. You know what I mean? I don't need somebody who's going to talk me to death. If I'm trying to sign a peace treaty, you get me Picard. But other than that, no. As they were. But seeing Luan and the way she was doing her stuff, and she brought back Spock to help solve the mystery. I did think the whole Sherlock Holmes thing was a little much. I didn't care for that. You guys know what I'm talking about? That part where he said,
yeah. I thought they incorporated that whole mystery death thing as in to try to figure out who actually killed Star Trek. Who was to blame. I thought maybe that might have been something that they were playing into. Because how, like you said, they were having some of the negative portrayals of certain types of behavior from two of our, most well-known iconic Star Trek people, Gene Roddenberry and William Shatner. And I thought that's what they're trying to go with.
Okay. So our science officer does have some cognitive skills. Okay.
Right now, not a lot left.
No, but that's a great point. I thought that was that's a real great point that you just made there. I was Roddenberry definitely, and I hate to say this, killed Star Trek after Star Trek the movie, because after the motion picture they pulled him off and he was nothing more than a consultant. When he basically had full run of what was going to happen, and then they pulled him off, and then of course that's when it took off. Next Generation, to me, did not take off until Mr. Roddenberry had passed. And what they did was they wrapped a tie around the bust because, they knew that Gene didn't want to go that route. But the writers were saying that their hands were tied. They couldn't tell the stories they wanted to tell because Gene had this utopian society doing these things, and it just wasn't working for them. So I get it. Does anybody else want to touch anything else on this episode before we close this episode out and go to the next one?
The very end part where they showed them in like the Star Trek theme, I thought the second part was better than the first part. First part was a little too long and cringy for me, but I was actually laughing when they went back at the very end for the blooper reel there at the end.
Oh yeah. I thought it was a cute episode. I mean, they definitely had what they wanted to say about how they feel about the show was ending.
Well,
and how the characters were. So they definitely had a point they was trying to make.
I think he made Tech War was his other show.
Andromeda.
Oh, Andromeda.
Yeah. That was a nice little show.
I was thinking of Shatner.
Kevin Sorbo.
Kevin Sorbo did that one, and of course, Kevin Sorbo now is Christian actor and everything else. But see, the only thing is though, I hate to say this, but every time I see Kevin Sorbo, I'm Hercules.
Yeah. Yep.
I can't shake anything he does. It's Hercules to me.
Yeah.
Now, where Xena does not have that problem with me, when I see the actress Lucy Lawless, I can see Lucy Lawless. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. For some reason, she broke her mold from Xena because Xena was my girl. I have her DVD collection sitting back there.
And I have a doll. I got to bring out my doll one day.
Oh, you got to show me that. Yeah.
I have a doll.
Because I've always wanted one of those circlets that she had. Because I love that, man. I love that thing. He did another show that ended when he passed. It might have been Earth 2, Mark. I'm not sure exactly. I know Andromeda, but because to be totally honest with you, after that I kind of checked out of a lot of the sci-fi stuff, and I think at that time I was always at work, so I barely had any time to do anything. So, but again, overall, I love these little discussions because it helps me digest the episode. So if it wasn't that great, there might have been something that one of you said that makes it a little bit better. So again, I still thought it was not a great episode. I thought it was a good episode. Mm-hmm. Okay, I thought it was a good episode. Spock and Leanne, though,
they're definitely changing her. Where last season I didn't really care for her at all, and this season I'm like, okay, maybe we needed to, find out more about her herself because I now like her. Where
I like her a lot too.
Yeah, I like her now. I don't have the mind if they have a relationship.
Here's my thing. You guys hear me complain about this a lot. Where are the men? Where are the men? All my favorite characters, save Pike, are the female characters. Leanne, number one. Oh, that's not true. So Leanne, number one, Pike, and Minga. Those are my characters. Uhura. Those are my characters. And Uhura, I'm really getting, she's throwing out her little stuff out there. You know what I mean? I don't like her with Ortega's brother, though.
She's too mature for him.
Yes, she can do a lot better than that. I feel like a dad going, girl, come on. which brings us to this next episode. And we're probably going to run 5 minutes over because I like to give each episode 15 minutes, guys. And I know I rambled a little bit, but bear with us. This episode, we get the tension between Christine, and her boyfriend, with Spock in the mix. And this, again, why are we treating Star Trek like a high school? You know what I mean? I get it that we're trying to, well, not we. They are trying to get younger viewers in to watch this.
Yeah. It felt like I'd say it felt like daytime soap opera just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just for this episode, I thought it was like,
I'm just going to say, so Dr. Roger Corby is this archaeologist scientist, correct? Can we all agree on that?
Mm-hmm.
But Christine is the one finding everything and leading the way into this thing. And what are we doing? What are we doing? What universe are they in? Apparently, it's a universe where a lot of men don't sign up for Starfleet. and even though you have a archaeologist with you, the head nurse is the one that knows about the ancient civilization, sticks her hand over something and lets a foreign object jab her and take blood so she can drip it onto a panel.
She should have known better, to the point of her being a nurse, number one. And when Spock was like, hey, look, you know, we see these dead bodies over here. Let's go out. Let's regroup. And, for her to be like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. No, I'm sorry, Spock was right. You kind of should have did that. How dare her?
Yeah, okay. Here's my question, Admiral. Why was there even a discussion about that? Well, and then Leanne had to tell her, Spock is a senior officer. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
Why was there even a debate?
She used
this is where they lose it. Yeah. See, this is where I lose it. Now, I don't mind a man telling his woman, I love you. I can't live without you. I don't want you to die. I can handle that. But when the woman is not having a watery eye and she's looking at you won't lose me. To me, in my mind, that means she's already planning on leaving me. Yeah. She's already got her shit together. I'm over here babbling like a fool. Pike is killing me with his love relationship. Because when that fight goes off in sickbay, the kid goes to the brig.
Yes.
Pike brings his wife or his girlfriend back to his quarters with a hypo?
I said the same thing.
This is your ship. See, this is why I need Kirk. This is my ship. Nothing compromises the Enterprise or her crew. That is a compromising thing. He's sitting there on the bed with a hypo spray. I knew you wouldn't attack me, but just in case I had this hypo spray.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if she's throwing around grown people, you are nothing. I don't.
Yeah.
So I'm a little disappointed with Pike on that one. Dr. Nminga shows some empathy. I think a little bit too much empathy.
Agreed.
Because he's like, when the boy loses his eyes, Dana. When Dana loses his eyes and starts talking and starts doing all that stuff, he's like, take me. And I'm like, wait a minute now. You're a senior officer. You're the chief medical officer on this ship. And now you want to sacrifice yourself.
That's what it wanted. That's what
Of course that's what he wanted.
Yeah.
He should have immediately put the shields up around the bed immediately instead of stepping back and be like, da-da-da-da-da-da. Obviously, he's not your dude anymore. So, and even if it was, he wasn't through the whole time. So put those shields up right there. Let them stay there because he left medical. That should have never happened.
Yeah.
So you know, so it begins. Look, all I know is I was really upset because one, that hairstyle he had cannot be regulation. Okay, we just gonna take my braids and still have them dancing around. No, man.
Especially if
Worf
he's in medical.
had to have his stuff up. Yeah, especially in medical. You know, I mean,
But it's all about how things look right now.
But it's that, like, again, it's that CW 91210. You know, we're gonna do this hip stuff, and my thing again is stop using 2025 slang in this year, and it's that you should be coming up with your own words. You shouldn't be using these same things. We don't talk like we did 100 years ago.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Maybe more proper stuff and not starting to use the doctor, the engineering lady, this old, I think she's, what is she like with Guinan's race? She's that old?
I don't think they're the same race, but I think another
species like that, right?
Yeah.
It was ancient. It shook me to my core.
That was a little
there's
odd.
Scotty.
That was very odd.
Yeah, they're trying to lead up to this big thing because we know next season will be the shortest and the final season, which I'm sad to see them go because I would really like to see them flesh out and become a little bit more militaristic in their actions of what they're doing. But I get it because now they want to make room for Starfleet Academy or Star Trek Academy and James Kirk Year One or something like that. Okay, so they got two things that they're trying to do. And I heard that they're heavily pushing to get into Starfleet Academy to get this second season. They're going into production to hurry up and push it out because the new owner is like, this is crap, let it go. So they're trying to push it out there to get people to rally around this thing. I'm going to save judgment, and to be honest with you guys, I'm not looking at any trailers. I want to sit down. I've seen the female Dominion girl. I'm like, okay, I'll deal with that when I see the show. I'm not going to, when I sit down, I'll take the blinders off and go, okay, because this is like 300 years after all of our Trek. So now you have a fresh slate. So I can deal with your freshness. Just don't come back here and touch anything in our timeline over here. This episode, I just did not really care for because of these inconsistencies that they had. Chapel leading the away team like she knew what she was doing when you had Dr. Roger Corby, who's supposed to be the leading authority on all this, but it seemed like him and Spock, all they wanted to do was keep going at each other. And trust me, Christine, this is not our prior relationship I'm talking about. This is, science. I know science. That should not even have been a question. He's a Vulcan. He's not going to let his emotions override his love for you. It's not Ponfar season.
Yeah, but as her being a female, and I'm a girl, she was, hey, I got this new dude to the side, and Spock, you still don't want me? That's how I felt watching.
Oh, no.
I'm going to go ahead and say it, where I got somebody, I'm happy, and I see you're kind of seeing somebody else. She wanted him to still want after her for her to be able to say, no, I got somebody else. I'm sorry, that's how we women think. That's what it is.
You are all woman, but you are an admiral first. You are a Starfleet officer. Wow. Okay, so all right. I get it. So I understand the episode from that point of view. I understand the episode a lot better. And it scares me. It scares me to death. Thank God. Good Lord. Whew. There's some issues there with women. Then I see still in that century that they're in.
Yeah, that's what it was. I'm 100%. I'm right. That's what it was because we do that. I'm not gonna lie, we do.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn. Look, Simon, I feel a little naive. I feel like
y'all don't know us. We got that.
No, we don't. Look, no, we don't. No.
I saw it immediately. I knew what she was doing.
Look,
yeah, I knew what she was doing.
Petty right there.
Yep. I was like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Look now. Oh, look. Now he want to start something.
Now, what did you, Simon, think about the nurse guy? I don't remember his name, being possible the next bad. You know, because I kind of feel like, you know, the end scening where you saw the computer, you know, the panels. Is he in the computer now? What do you think about that?
I did like that. I kind of, you know, who did that? Wolf in the Fold. Remember when he took over the computer, TOS, reject, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that would be kind of cool if, you know, like you said, maybe he got into the computer thing. Now he's finding his next little wisdom, jump into another person and just keep going on until they, you know. If he's smart, he stays in his host long enough to study, observe, get a real good feel from the crew, and then right in left field, right when everybody's like, oh, we just survived that thing and now we can relax, and then boom, get them, you know, just get them.
Did either of you recognize that place as a prison? Because once I saw the inside walls start to change and move, like the pyramid in that one AVP, I was like, that's designed to keep them in.
Yeah.
Like they're not gonna know. I was like, that's designed to keep something in. And then once I realized, you know, what kind of beings they were, I was like, okay, that's a sophisticated prison. They're not supposed to go in there. And one thing I didn't like is, like, once they see a dead body, why do they keep pushing forward? Why didn't they say stop?
Let's
I mean,
well,
I mean, that's what they did when the holodeck went crazy. Oh, wait, let's try to stop this. Oh, wow, that's smart. Here, no.
Well, I mean, you know, curiosity, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
female leadership. No,
I wouldn't have went in there.
Just kidding.
I wouldn't have went in there.
Nope.
As soon as dead body, pack it up. Let's go. Because see, I'm not curious. I don't Star Trek logic. Not without a compliment of full red shirts. I'm not going in there.
Yeah. And when it blew up in his face, I was so mad, but I was like, I told you not to touch that. You know, as I'm screaming at the TV. Like, that's what you get. That's what you get. It was so
That's what I said too. Yeah. You get it. That's what you get. How stupid could you be?
Even, you know, that's something that you know, your first day of the academy, they kind of should have said, hey, you know, you shouldn't be going there, and it's been closed for whatever, how many hundreds or thousands of years this place has been closed. Don't be going around. Oh, you see a light. Ooh.
I mean, that's the two major rules. Don't pick up the object and don't read the Latin out loud. I mean, those are the two things you don't do.
Very true. Very true. Your last impressions of this episode, I'm lackluster at best. Again, the whole dating thing. I hear you're dating Lieutenant La'an, and no. I'm like, and she said, you know, I don't do this. That's just why I don't do this. And I'm like, stop turning this into a soap opera. This is, again, I get it. You want a younger crowd in here. You're figuring the military route isn't the way to go. And you're trying to get younger people interested in the storyline, but you could have did it a little bit more mature.
Yeah.
Let's have some maturity with it. You know what I mean? It is Star Trek, for God's sake, you know? Then again, it could have been worse. We could have got down there and there could have been people going, the power of one, the power of two.
The power of many.
The power of many.
that weird laugh.
Oh my God, right?
Oh, that was so bad.
But I mean, if there's anything that makes you want to, go, wait a minite, let me take this Star Wars hat off. Where's my Star Trek hat? I feel much better now. Okay, I'm safe. I'm over here. Jeez. But your last impressions on this show, on this last episode, Admiral.
I think between the two, I like the first episode better, than this one. I mean, I like the idea of the new bad guy, obviously, that's going to be in it. Overall, I mean, we watched it last night. It was okay. It's Trek. It's good. I'm gonna watch it. I know earlier you were talking about, younger people. I would assume that's what the new Star Trek Academy would be, where you have younger people on, the ship going out in space. I think that's pretty much what the show is going to be about. This one, yeah, you do have, your heroes up there who's younger. But, you have a older crew being on the bridge. And I do wish they kind of, hey, I'm over 50. I'm the one that's watching this, and I tried to do it with that, Star Trek cartoon. What is that? Prodigy.
Lower Trash?
Yeah. I didn't like, So, let's keep this what Star Trek is about, why I was interested in Trek, even as a young person when, I watch it, of course, in reruns. There's a reason why I became a fan. And, sadly, I can see where, it has changed over the years. But I am a fan, and I'm going to watch it.
Science Officer Simon?
I didn't like so much of the interpersonal drama. Like you said, I thought that was a little too much. I actually do like a little bit when it is appropriate for the storyline, but it seems like they write it in just to have that specifically in there. What I did like is that it did feel a little bit more like old Trek. You had the monster, you had, taking over one of the crew, you had a mystery, you had people trapped down on the planet. So yeah, I thought it was great. And one of the things I did notice is how they actually took elements from a bunch of different old Star Trek shows. Like the, for example, there's always that creature that comes inside you or tries to take over the ship. I know I just said that earlier, but I really liked it. I really did. And there's that visor that kind of reminded you of Geordi for just a minute, even though it wasn't him. And I really like the fact that they shot the phasers or whatever they emitted from the ship down onto the planet and then reflected in order to take out the rock face. I like that. So there are some good elements. It seems like maybe they can keep going with that, and I could deal with some of the stuff that I don't necessarily like.
No, I totally agree with that. I like that aspect of it. And I have to admit, though, again, talking with you guys, we're playing Star Trek Online again. So there's a lot of good nostalgic things for us with that. And, it's only going to, hopefully it can only get better. But again, as the Admiral said, we are fans. We're going to watch because we are fans. We're going to voice our discontent at certain things, but that still won't stop us from watching it. And hopefully we'll get that one episode that really goes, okay, yes, it was bad, but they still had these great episodes, and most of the episodes had these elements that were good. And we can take that with us. Right? So I believe this week we have the puppet episode. I'm
lifted straight from Angel series.
Yeah. I have the Spike puppet, by the way.
Oh
yeah. I was a big Buffy Angel fan, and I found it online and I bought it. I have that Spike puppet. I couldn't find Angel, but I found Spike.
That sounds kind of inappropriate.
It does. It does.
Don't act like you weren't thinking the same thing, Wanda.
It sounds very bad.
Yes,
but it's one of those things. It's one of those things, man, where you, I don't like it when they do this tongue-in-cheeky type of deal with Star Trek. Star Trek shouldn't be like that, If you're going to do that, do it on Lower Decks where the comedy is expected and people are more accepting of it. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, and I'm glad that there is a Lower Decks fan base because that means that there's a hope that we might get something that might be something for me down the line. But when you start doing that, to me, you're cheapening it. You're bringing it down to that mediocre level of storytelling, and you don't have to do that. It's Star Trek, for God's sake. It has a standard. Again, if you want to do something like that, do it on Lower Decks.
I agree.
Where it's appropriate.
I like Lower Decks, and I think that's where it should go.
Oh, brother, look, and there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with you liking Lower Decks. I mean, I give you shit for it.
I don't know. There could be something wrong with you liking Lower Decks.
Hey, I'm not the one with puppets, okay?
I have it. I have the puppet, but I also have phasers and a bat lift, a very sharp bat lift.
Doesn't really help your cause there.
Hey, look, me and the puppet might go looking for you, sir. Well, look, we will return next week to talk to you about this latest episode. I believe it's the puppet episode. I'm fingers crossed we can get through that episode without any real harm. Maybe it might be a cute little episode where we're like, okay, it wasn't as bad as we thought.
With only 10 episodes this season, I kind of wish they would just,
bypass stuff like that.
Yeah, next season I hear it's only 6, I think. So, okay.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I know. Fingers crossed. Simon, we'd love it if you could join us again next week.
Yes.
I know your schedule is, kind of rough, but you have a open spot here. I sent out a call to Captain Bishop. Perhaps we had promoted him just way too soon, and now it's time that we get Simon to throw him in the brig.
Oh, and hey, Marky, it was Earth Final Conflict. That was the name of his other show.
I think I watched that.
I think I did.
I love this though. So we're getting pigs in space. Pigs in space.
Yes, that's.
Oh my God. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us. Thank you for joining us. I want to thank, of course, Marky Mark. I'm so lucky, Taco Cat, and all of you for watching us as you go into watching this wherever you are throughout your day. I'm going to put it up there. Stay tuned on the channel. Tomorrow morning, Blurred Otaku premieres only on YouTube and TikTok. I will have the links set up, And Blurred Otaku premieres. Miss Zoe takes center stage as she talks about which world will you want to live in this anime universe, and it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. Actually, I've been looking at one of these animes. I couldn't believe it when I saw it, so I've been looking it up, and I got it saved on my Crunchyroll. So this weekend, that's what I'll be watching. I still wouldn't want to live there, but I'm going to watch it. So from all of us, I want to thank you for joining us. And of course, Kapla.
Good night, everyone.